Imagine you are staring down this, like, massive project deadline,
Oh, yeah, we have all been there.
right? The timeline is completely blown. Your client is furious. And the craziest part, it is entirely the fault of a department you don't even work in.
Yep, the absolute worst feeling.
It is. And you have absolutely zero authority to fix it. So what do you do? I mean, most of us just, draft this highly diplomatic, maybe slightly passive-aggressive email to our
Right.
manager.
Oh, for sure. CC everybody.
Exactly. You CC everybody, and then you just wait for your boss to magically intervene.
Mhm.
But today's deep dive actually reveals why the people who don't wait, the ones who just bypass that whole chain of command, are the ones secretly running the company.
Yeah, it really is kind of a silent engine of the modern workplace.
Welcome, by the way, to another deep dive. I'm so glad you're joining us for this one.
Me too. We spend so much time and honestly so much money obsessing over how to manage down to a team, right? Or how to manage up to a
Always the
boss.
vertical stuff.
Yeah, exactly. We completely neglect the most common direction of all, which is leading sideways.
And to unpack this, our mission today is to dig into a fascinating new article from the Phoenix Performance Partners. It's titled Lateral Influence, The Art of Leading Sideways.
Woohoo. It's such a good read.
It really is. And it challenges this deeply ingrained visual we all have, right? Like, usually when we think of leadership, we picture a corporate org chart.
Oh, yeah. The classic pyramid.
Yeah, the pyramid, you have these heavy black lines and arrows pointing straight up to the boss, and then arrows pointing straight down to your team. And we spend, like, our entire careers just navigating those vertical lines. We completely ignore the horizontal arrows.
Well, and the article frames this perfectly. They open with this great quote from Simon Sinek.
Oh, I love his stuff. What was the quote?
He says, leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in your charge.
Wow.
Right. Because when we look at traditional leadership development, it's almost exclusively focused on authority. Like, how do you delegate? How do you do a performance review?
Or present to the board.
Exactly. But that third direction, lateral influence, which is basically aligning peers you have literally zero authority over, it's just missing. It's the missing curriculum in most workplaces.
But, I look at that missing curriculum, and part of me thinks, well, isn't that kind of by design?
How do you mean?
Well, say I'm hired to be a data analyst. My job is data.
Right.
So why is it my responsibility to wrangle the marketing department or untangle some huge mess in sales? Isn't that exactly what managers and executives are paid the big salaries to do?
Yeah, that is the default assumption for, I mean, almost everybody. And historically, it actually worked.
Okay, so what changed?
Well, the nature of work has fundamentally changed. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the initiatives that actually move the needle now almost always cross boundary.
Right, they don't just stay in one lane.
Exactly. Very rarely does a project sit neatly inside one single silo anymore. Like, think about launching a new product.
Yeah, you need engineering, marketing,
legal, customer service, and they all have to move at the exact same speed.
which is impossible.
It is, and relying purely on top-down authority to synchronize all those departments, it creates massive bottlenecks.
Because you're essentially playing like a high-stakes game of corporate telephone.
Precisely. Think about the physics of that top-down escalation. Every time there's a misalignment, you escalate it to your boss.
Who is already too busy.
Right. And then they have to find time on the calendar to talk to another department's boss.
Oh man, that takes weeks.
It does. And then that boss trickles a new directive down to your peer. Nothing would ever get done. You're adding weeks to a timeline to solve a problem that honestly could have been resolved in 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, you simply cannot wait for formal directives when the friction is happening in real time.
Right. Across those horizontal boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And when those bottlenecks happen, the pressure inevitably trickles right back down to us, the individual contributors. The article actually explores this really grounded scenario.
No.
They frame it as the tale of two different employees facing the exact same cross-functional roadblock.
Oh, this part was so relatable.
Super relatable. Think about your last blocked project, as we walk through this. So, employee number one hits a roadblock that requires help from another department.
And their immediate response is to freeze.
They freeze, they just wait. They wait for someone with formal authority to call a cross-departmental meeting, set a formal agenda, assign roles.
And, we need to be clear about why they do that. It isn't because employee number one is lazy.
Or incapable.
Right. It's a conditioned response. We are trained from day one to stay in our lane. So when the bosses are too busy to call that meeting, this employee just sits there feeling totally stuck.
Just waiting for permission to use their own skills.
Yeah.
But then you have employee number 2. They hit the exact same roadblock, but instead of waiting for the org chart to save them, they literally just pick up the phone. They call their counterpart in the other department. They're like, hey, what are you seeing from your side? I think we might be solving the exact same problem.
And keep in mind, they don't have an ounce of authority over this person.
None. They
Yeah.
can't demand a single thing.
But that one conversation starts the momentum. The source makes this brilliant distinction here. The difference between these two people isn't their title. It's their posture.
Oh, I love that. Here's where it gets really interesting to me. It's like sitting at a broken red light in the middle of the night,
Okay. Yeah.
you know? You're just sitting there waiting for it to turn green so you have quote-unquote permission to go.
Yeah.
Versus stepping out of the car and just directing the traffic yourself. It is all about posture.
That's a great analogy. And notice, it's fascinating that employee number 2 didn't call the other department to boss their counterpart around.
Right. They didn't get out of the car and start yelling at the other drivers.
Exactly. The real power was in the question they asked. What are you seeing from your side? They demonstrate that a lateral leader doesn't let a lack of formal authority paralyze them.
But they also don't, like, manufacture fake authority.
Right. They approach the friction with a posture of curiosity, not dominance.
Which brings up a really good point, because this is where I struggle with the practical application of this stuff.
Okay, tell me.
Well, so if I see a problem happening across department lines, my instinct is to analyze it and fix it, right?
Sure.
So what does this all mean for my great ideas? If I approach a peer in engineering and I say, hey, let's talk about this problem, but I don't bring a brilliant solution to the table,
Yeah.
aren't they just going to think I'm wasting their time?
That's the fear, yeah.
Doesn't showing up without a plan make me look completely unprepared?
Well, this raises an important question, right? Because that anxiety is exactly why so many smart people fail at lateral leadership. Yeah. You're confusing preparation with persuasion. I mean, you should absolutely understand the problem deeply before you make the call. But if you come in with a solution that's already completely baked, you trigger a natural defensive response.
Oh, because they feel like I'm telling them what to do?
Exactly. The article discusses this as the absolute most common mistake people make. They aren't looking for collaboration, they're looking for compliance. They want buy-in.
Buy-in. People hate being bought in.
They despise it. There's actually this psychological phenomenon called the not invented here syndrome.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah. When you push a fully formed solution onto a peer, their brain subconsciously reads it as a threat to their autonomy. It feels like you're rearranging the furniture in their house without asking.
That's a great way to put it. So they put their guard up.
They resist.
Yeah.
And the crucial nuance here, the thing true lateral leaders understand, is that they don't resist because your idea is bad. They resist because they had no hand in creating it.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
And the source actually has a great term for this trap. It calls that behavior being a lateral lobbyist.
Yes. The lateral lobbyist.
Right, because a lobbyist doesn't actually care about your input. They just want to get their own legislation passed. They just want your vote so they can run back to their boss and be like, look, I fixed it.
And a lateral leader operates from a completely different orientation. They shift from wanting buy-in to genuinely needing input.
Which is a huge shift.
Massive. The alternative, showing up without the fully baked pitch, is harder, but it's vastly more effective because it respects their autonomy. You have to come in genuinely curious.
Finding the shared goal underneath both of your agendas.
Right. True lateral leaders aren't just tacticians. They actually care about what their colleague is carrying. They care about their burden.
Which makes total sense for the psychology of the moment. Like, if I feel like you're trying to help me carry my load, I'm going to lower my guard.
Absolutely.
But, as powerful as that phone call is during a crisis, it only really works if there is already a foundation of trust.
Oh, 100%.
We can't just talk about putting out fires.
Yeah.
We have to look at the long-term habits that make putting out the fire possible in the first place.
Yeah, the everyday practice is where the real work happens. The deep dive highlights this profound rule. The colleague you want to influence on a Tuesday when the project is failing is the colleague you should have had lunch with 3 months ago.
Oh, man, that is so true.
Influence without authority is built in the margins of our days, not in the moment of desperate need.
It's exactly like a bank account.
Oh, I love that analogy.
Right. Because you can't just walk up to an ATM and make a massive withdrawal if you've never deposited any money into the account.
The machine just declines it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to invest in the relationship way before you need something from it.
Mm.
If you wait until you desperately need a favor to finally introduce yourself, they're going to smell the desperation.
Oh, people see right through that. They sense the transactional nature of the request immediately.
Yeah.
And if you absorb that concept, it totally reframes this often dreaded idea of networking.
Ugh. Networking. The worst word.
Right. For a lot of professionals, networking feels incredibly transactional. It feels like schmoozing, handing out business cards.
Keeping a mental tally of who owes you a favor, it feels slimy.
It does feel slimy, but if you view building relationships as laying down those traps of trust, simply being curious about your colleagues' worlds, understanding their pressures without asking for anything in return, it changes everything.
It goes from schmoozing to authentic connection building.
Exactly. You do it out of genuine interest, it feels better to do, and it is infinitely more effective down the line.
Okay, so let's look at the full life cycle of this.
Yeah.
You made the deposits, you had coffee with the engineering lead 3 months ago, genuinely learned about their bandwidth issues.
Yep.
Then the cross-functional crisis hits on a Tuesday. You don't wait for your boss, you pick up the phone. You approach them with curiosity, not a pitch.
Avoiding the lateral lobbyist trap.
Right, you find the shared goal and you actually solve the problem together. But the final phase the article explores is what happens in the aftermath of that success.
And the aftermath is critical because it sets up your next lateral move. The key takeaway here is that lateral leadership means sharing credit aggressively.
Okay, wait, let's be real for a second. Let's pause on that.
Okay.
The corporate world is an undeniably competitive place,
Very
right?
much so.
So if I am trying to prove to my boss that I am ready for a promotion, if I'm the one who stepped out of my lane, initiated the fix, did all the hard work, isn't giving away the credit totally counterproductive?
It seems like it, right?
Yeah. Doesn't deferring the praise make me look like a passenger?
Yeah.
Don't I need my name in shining lights attached to the win?
It is a totally understandable fear, but it's based on a flawed understanding of how executives actually evaluate talent.
Oh, really?
Let's untangle this paradox. In a corporate environment, executives are absolutely flooded with people claiming credit.
True. Everyone wants to look good.
Everyone is constantly highlighting their own ROI. So when someone actually defers the credit, it acts as a massive pattern interrupt.
Wait, a pattern interrupt? How so?
When you actively say things out loud like, "We figured this out together," or "This wouldn't have been possible without the marketing team," it forces senior leaders to lean in.
Hmm.
They ask themselves, wait, who organized this collaboration if nobody is demanding the spotlight? Executives are not blind. They are constantly looking for the common denominator in successful projects.
Ah, I see. So they notice the invisible architecture. They see that every single time a cross-functional project succeeds, your name just happens to be attached to it.
Exactly. Pointing outward actually solidifies your reputation as a catalyst. When you share credit aggressively, leaders notice that you are the one making the entire machine run smoother.
Wow. So by giving the credit away, you're actually branding yourself as the ultimate team multiplier.
You are. Ironically, proving you don't need the title makes you the safest possible bet to actually be given the promotion.
That is a massive paradigm shift. It goes against every survival instinct we have.
It really does.
So as we bring this deep dive down to the ground level, I want to give you, the listener, a specific assignment straight from the source material. It's very low stakes, but the impact is profound.
It's the perfect way to test these mechanics in your own environment.
This week, find one colleague in a different department to collaborate with on a shared goal. Just one.
Just one.
But here are the rules. Do not make a formal request through your manager. Do not send a calendar invite with, like, 12 bulleted agenda items.
Please don't.
Right, just start a conversation. Say something like, hey, I've been thinking about this specific friction point. I think you're probably seeing the exact same thing from your side. Can we talk?
Just see where it goes.
Exactly. Because the opportunity to lead laterally lives in the emails you don't have to send.
I love that. It reminds us that lateral leaders don't wait to be handed influence. They build it themselves, one genuine conversation at a time.
One genuine conversation at a time. And as you go out and try that this week, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. Something that takes this whole concept of sideways influence to its logical conclusion.
Lay it on me.
If organizations truly started valuing this sideways influence as much as top-down authority, how would that fundamentally change the way companies hire, evaluate and promote their future executives?
Oh, that's a great question.
Right. Would the traditional manager track even exist in the future? Or would the ultimate career goal be something entirely different? It's a fascinating shift to consider. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We will catch you next time.